Okay, remember last time we were talking about finishing the loss of leaning back. So it's very important to know also, imagine if I lean back, mamish, I don't feel comfortable, right? Let's say, God forbid, I have trouble with my spine or I have trouble with my shoulder. Then obviously it happens, because a free person, someone can do what you want to, right? The moment I'm forcing it, it's already not showing freedom, right? But hopefully everybody is well and healthy. And also, we supposed to have cushions, make it beautiful. So it goes without saying you don't take some kind of a crazy, stupid, old, dirty cushion just to lean back, because then it doesn't look like a king. Right? You have to celebrate that you're a king, right? Yeah. And we should really make it known to everybody. Anybody who comes to the Seder should bring their own cushion. We've done a cushion for 100 people, But it's very important that the chair you're sitting on should be a little bit like a throne, shouldn't be like an ordinary chair. Okay, now we come to the 4 cups. Let me have one fast look here before you move. Does anybody here remember that basically the 4 cups are because of the 4 words with which God took us out of Egypt. First says, V'hetzesi, I'll take you out. V'hitzalti, I'll rescue you. V'lokachti, I will take you as my people. V'hevesi, I'll bring you to the Holy Land. V'hevesi. V'hetzesi, v'hitzalti, v'go'alti, v'lokachti. Ah, you're right, Mamish. Hey, what did you have for breakfast? Oh. Oh, you're 100% right, because there's one shitta that you have to drink the 5th course over Havesi. You're 100% right. But Sesi, how would you say it in English? But Sesi,
took you out.
Take you out. Vitzalti,
Right. Saved you.
Yeah, V'ga'alti,
Redeemed you.
V'lokachti, and I will take you.
What was the last one mean?
V'lokachti.
What does that mean?
That means I will take you as my people.
What's the 5th?
V'hevesi, then it says, I will bring you to the land. But Sesi, V'hitzalti.
Rescue, take you as my people.
No, that's the last one. That's the 4th.
That's the 4th. What's the 3rd one?
Where it says we go out there, I'll redeem you. Peace. Okay, now listen to this. We were redeemed from Egypt because of we had 4 merits. If you remember, the first thing is, which is a little bit heartbreaking, hey, what's going on there? There seems to be a big feast going on. Feast of redemption. Okay, because Mo says, the first thing is, we never call ourselves Egyptian names that we stuff today, Shloshina Shemom, that despite we lived in Egypt, we only spoke Hebrew, and we stuff. then there's a whole controversy. Controversy. One says because we never changed our garments, we always walked around looking Jewish. No? Okay, so and then because Mamish, we stayed very holy. You know, Egypt was the lowest morally and whatever it is, right? And Yidden were unbelievable. You know, I don't want to say anything bad. You know, slaves, the way they live, right? Most slaves, when you take a slave woman, and she has 10 children, each child is from another man, right? Or maybe 2 are from another man. For us Yidden, it was very much the holiness, especially from the women, was awesome. Remember, the Gemara says because of the holy women we were revealed from Egypt. Remember, there was, when we came out from Egypt, there was only one child who was born because one Egyptian raped her. You will ask me, the Egyptians were the worst. How come they didn't rape our women? Because there was something so holy about our women, they couldn't rape. And I want to tell you, I'm the first have to drink coffee to wake up.
Amen.
I heard this from a Russian Jew in Yerushalayim. Actually from a Russian woman. That they lived in Kiev during the First World War. And her mother was not just beautiful, but, really, gewalt beautiful. And if you remember when the whole thing with the white Russian and red Russian, both of them, the first thing they did, they raped all the women, and the red come in, they rape all the women, kill, steal, especially Yidden, so on. So, her father was a Chassidish Yid, don't know which Rebbe, Kiev. Kiev is mostly Chernobyl or Asian. So, the Cossack came in and tied her husband down. Then he dragged her into the bedroom. She says to him, listen to me, brother. If you rape me, then the moment you walk out, you'll be shot dead. If you don't rape me, I swear to you, you'll make it till after the war. But you know, she was such a tzedekah, so real, that the Mamish listened to her. And he was so taken by her, that he came back that night and guarded the house the whole night. He was afraid other Cossacks would come. And at the end of the war, he came back and he told her, I want you to know, I know it's your blessing kept me alive. Because I went to situations, people shot at me, it was a miracle. And I know it's only because I listened to you. So, and each of those, unbelievable, like, those women had unbelievable, mamish holy power. Hey, Johnson. Who speaks Russian here? Nobody.
Me.
I asked them if they speak Russian, any here.
I say me.
What?
I speak Russian.
I know now. I wanted you to feel at home. I thought maybe one of the Hebrew also speaks Russian.
Cool.
Yeah?
Why you ask?
No, because I want people to greet you in Russian so you feel
No,
at
I
home.
understand things.
We understand them.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, good. Hey. You want to offer them some cake, those ladies? See? I didn't even. But then there's also basically It is because we didn't talk evil about each other. Didn't talk Lashon Hara. I have to tell you, Stephen. Listen to this, unbelievable. In Radin, for the Chofetz Chaim, who his whole thing was he never spoke Lashon Hara about another person. On Purim, someone was drunk, and it was a little bit obnoxious already. So, Chava said, Chofetz Chaim, just go out, please. So he says, I will not go out until the Chofetz Chaim promises me that I will sit next to him in Gan Eden. The way out, right? The Chofetz Chaim says, I'll tell you something. The only good thing I did in my life is I never spoke evil about the person. It says from the day that I'm conscious, I haven't spoken evil about another person. He says, if you promise me right now that you never talk evil about another person, you can sit next to me. So he says, no, I can't promise. So Chaim is begging him, it's Purim, right now it's a good time, Everybody remembers Purim as a whole thing that Haman was saying bad things and Mordechai never said bad things. He says, no, I can't promise. So Chaim says, okay, throw him out. That's it. And you see, what Chaim said, right now, this man had a chance. If he would have promised, God would have helped him not to say Lashon Hara. Really promise God something with all your heart, then God helps you that you can keep it. Okay, now let's go over again. But basically, why we really came out of Egypt is really because we're really holy people. Right? Remember, it was not that God suddenly took 3 million people out of Egypt and made something out of them. We were already an entity by ourselves. Right? The Gemara says we were like a baby inside its mother. It's an entity by itself. It's not completely alive yet, right? Has to be born, but it's already something, right? We were still in Egypt. We were not a nation by ourselves, but we were already like an entity by ourselves. What made us into an entity? Because the Egyptians were the lowest, the Romans are holy. Okay, now, everybody knows that besides everything else, the 4 cups are because of 4 holy mothers. And we'll go to it slowly. The Gemara says if any Jew is holy, it's only because of our holy mother Sarah. You remember that she came down to Egypt, and the first thing is she was brought to the court of Pharaoh. Remember our holy mother Sarah looked, morning Marine, our holy mother Sarah looked like Eve before she was driven out from paradise. You know what that means? This is not to be believed, right? Every time we are a little bit sad or we have pain, it shows on our faces, right? Imprint on our faces. Can you imagine? Eve, before she was driven out from paradise, right? Paradise, right? So her face was glowing. The moment she was driven out from paradise, so much sadness was showing on her face, right? And Sarah looked, hey, you talk to brother. And Sarah was like before Eve was driven out from paradise. And you remember, this is mamish, the deepest, and really you have to mamish listen to it. Listen to this awesome, right? It's an old story, but I'm sure you know it. The Chassidim were learning, Rabbi Shlomo carlebach and Aflo were learning, the Mishnah says, the same way as you thank God for good things, you have to thank Him, God forbid, for not such good things. You have to believe in God so much.
Who said that?
The Gemara says. Shem Shem Vochem Al HaToiva, Kach Vochem Al Kach, same way. Awesome. And who can reach such a level, right? So the Chassidim have flown, Rab Shmelke walk into the Medrash Magid, and they say, Rebbe, how can a person reach that level? I mean, Kach, imagine that if someone walks in now and tells me, God forbid, I don't want to take me as an example. Someone walks in now and says, hey, you won $2 million, right? I thank you with all my heart, right? And imagine someone comes and says, you lost $2 million, so I'm saying you go the same way. How can you reach that level? I mean, they have such awesome belief in God. So the Medrash Magid says, I'll tell you what, I didn't reach it yet. But Rabbi Rabzusha, he reached that level. Okay, they go into the Bes Medrash and they go to Rabbi Rabzusha. The Rabbi Rabzusha should never have Chas V'Shalom to anybody. Nebuch Gewalt, it's even too heartbreaking to say. Nebuch, he had 10 children. Nebuch, and 8 died, Nebuch. Pain, right? So much poverty and so much sickness. So they walk into this Medrash and say, the Rabbi Rabzusha, can you explain to us what the Talmud says? You have to thank God for bad things with the same way you thank Him for good things? How can a person reach that level? So the Rabbi Rabzusha says, I'm telling you the truth, you have to ask somebody else, because nothing bad ever happened to me. This is the secret. The moment you think it's bad, you're already lost, right? I mean, this is a classic story. And I have to tell you a good story there. Remind me to come back to Holy Mother Sarah. It was one of the greatest, at the same time, the Rabbi Rabzusha was a great, great rabbi, but a misnagid. He was not he was very wealthy, mamish a multi-millionaire.
It was a different Rabbi Zusha, of course.
No, not Rabbi Zusha, it wasn't at the same time. But actually his name was Rabbi Shlomo, his name was Rabbi Shlomo, and he was the rabbi in Warsaw, but he was very rich. And he had the big yeshiva and everything. And 80% of his money was invested in ships going from Danzig, bringing Polish lumber to England. It was a big business in those days. And suddenly they get a telegram, whatever it is, that the ship sunk. That means 80% of his wealth down the drain. So how going to tell him, he'd be so broken? So one of his pupils says, I'll ask him Pshat in the Gemara. He goes to him and he says, how can a person reach the level to thank God for bad news as much as he thanks Him for good news? So he says, how can he not? I mean, if a Jew, Mamish believes in God, Mamish go out. And he says, example, let's say, for instance, he says, imagine someone would come and tell you that you lost your fortune. What would you do? He says, Mamish, I would say, Mamish, thank you, God. So I think he's ready. He says, I have to tell you good news. Mamish, he fainted away, It's not so simple, right? You know what the whole thing of the tree of knowledge is? This is good and this is bad. Your whole life, everything is good and bad. The moment you're into this is good and this is bad, when something bad happens, it shows on your face, right? You see, there are so many creams now to get rid of your wrinkles, to make your face more young, but you need something else.
Cream.
Yeah, you need anti-tree of knowledge. Because the moment you know this is good and this is bad, it's showing on your face. You have to be on the level to realize it's all good, right? If it's all good, go out, imagine nothing bad ever happened to me. I look like I'm 5 years old, right? You see, the specialty, Sarah was the first one to fix the tree of knowledge. You know how much pain she had? She wanted so much to have a child until she is 90, she should have a child. She'd be the most broken woman in the world. And she, when she was taken to the court of Pharaoh, you think they invite her just for the coffee? When Pharaoh wants to rape a woman, he knows how to do it, right? Who knows what he did there with her right now? And Baruch Hashem, you know, and in last moment the Gemara says an angel came and knocked him over. You know what it means? An angel came. That means, and it was not normal that she was not ready. Mom is a help from heaven, from the highest place, right? Anyway, so Sarah paved the way for all of Israel to be holy, despite that it's impossible normally to be a holy person. So the first cup of wine, Kadesh, right, holy, is the cup of our Holy Mother Sarah. And you see what it is, the first cup of Holy Mother Sarah is also the Tzesi. Get you out of the mud, right? Have I had to say bad things, have to take a little cough medicine.
What was that word from?
Well,
Hotzi.
Tzesi. What, Danny? No, I'm thinking, I just need to slow it down. Yeah, what's going on? How could you not?
Is that one t-shirt?
I want to go back to this woman in Kiev. Listen to this. That after the communists took over, obviously, I don't know if she told me, I think it was her grandmother, she made a mikveh in the dining room. You know what she did? Under the table was an opening. Right? Nobody suspects to be under a table an opening. And then there was like going down a little bit, like a little ladder. And she made the mikveh right there. In 500 miles around Kiev, everybody knew if you want to go to the mikveh, you have to go. He begins the story. Unbelievable. One year told me in Russia that his sister-in-law, you know, in Moscow there's a mikveh. The KGB ran into the mikveh in Moscow. They saw a woman there and they shot her right in the mikveh. The sister-in-law. When they sent her husband for 20 years to Siberia. You know, some of the world forgets already, you know, what communism was all about. You know. Anyway, so one night a woman came. She drove in a car 500 miles to go to the mikveh. The only thing is, obviously the mikveh wasn't heated, right? It was just, because you know, in order to make a mikveh, you have to bring snow, and when it melts, the water is kosher for the mikveh. Anyway, I guess, you know, she was so excited. She goes in the mikveh, and the woman standing up there, you know, helping her to come out. She doesn't come out. And it's her daughter, they're coming, they drag her out, she's dead. She doesn't breathe. And you know what it is? You cannot call a doctor. Because when a doctor comes, makes a report, there's a mikveh, and the woman dies in the mikveh. I mean, this is the end. So, you see, I don't know how dead she was, but anyway, Mamish, he says, my grandmother, she's my grandmother, Mamish like you know, she was praying so much, this woman dies. First of all, she doesn't deserve to die. She drove 500 miles to go to the mikveh. Then she dies in the mikveh? You can't do this. You can't. And she was mamish arguing with God like crazy. Suddenly the woman opened her eyes. And she said, I got to go to the mikveh. They couldn't keep her away. She went down to the mikveh. Unbelievable. So then she says that my mother says to her, If you have so much Mesirat Nefesh, right, in the mikveh, then I bless you, your children should be born in Israel. And miraculously, this woman, after she came out from the mikveh, she mamish got pregnant, unbelievable, and she and her husband made it straight to Israel, one way or the other, like God opened the borders for her. Unbelievable. Okay, this is our Holy Mother Sarah, right? Our Holy Mother Sarah opened gates. Because everybody knows that Yitzchak was born on the first night of Pesach. Because you remember the angel came to Avram on the first night of Pesach, right? And he says, 1 year from now you're going to have a baby, he said to Sarah, right? So Yitzchak was born the first night of Pesach. So it's, first of all, it's just, God took us out of Egypt because of our Holy Father Abraham, right? He promised him. And can you imagine what the Yontiv, it's for Sarah, why didn't she have a baby, right? Gewalt, right? Her life's been. I have to tell you something which is from Ishmael. You know, our Holy Mother Sarah lived 127 years. How long was she a mother? 37 years, right? In 90 years she was not. Why do we call her our Mother Sarah? They call her Sarah, the Holy Sarah, the cute Sarah. She was only a fraction of her life a mother. So the Ishmael says, from the moment Sarah was born, all she was praying, oh Moshe, let me have a baby. You know? It was not 37 years. She was training to be a mother for 90 years, right? Unbelievable. Okay. When was she taken to Pharaoh? That's an unbelievable way out story. When was she taken to Pharaoh? First night of the Seder, right? You see, the first night of the Seder is the night of miracle. Mamash, you know, God took her out from the house of Pharaoh. You know, Pharaoh was not just the cute little president of the United States. Pharaoh at that time was the king of the world, right? You know the famous joke? I'll tell you a joke. I'm sure you know it anyway. Okay, Carter and Begin and Sadat are sitting in Camp David. And God comes to appears to them. God says, ask me anything and I will answer you. Okay, Sadat is first. A guest, right? So Sadat says, God, when will Egypt again, what's the name of the Egyptian money? Whatever it is. When will the Egyptian money again rule the world like in former good days? God says, approximately 100,000 years. He says, 100,000 years, please God, can you make it in my lifetime? God says, even 100,000 years I'm already rushing, but that's the best I can do.
Even 100,000.
Yeah. Okay, then comes Brother Carter. Brother Carter says, God, when will the dollar again rule the world? God says, about 20,000 years. Carter begins to cry, please make it in my lifetime. I want to see the glory of the United States. God says, I'm rushing it beyond your wildest dreams. That's the best I can do for you, 20,000 years. And comes Brother Begin. Begin says, when will the shekel rule the world? And God begins crying, not in my lifetime. Well, huh? That's good. There's another joke like this. Someone comes to the bed of the Rebbe and says, Rebbe, how can I make the shekel should be as good as a dollar? There's only one way. If you become the president of the United States, then all America will go bankrupt. It'll be just as much as a shekel. Time. That's one way of ending it. Okay, let's first concentrate on the first. What's happening there?
Dripping on you. I don't want to drip on your shoulder.
Oh, let me check it out. Okay, then one more, which is awesome. Basically, God's name has 4 letters, right? However, this is mamish deep stuff. The first chorus is the letter Yud. You know what the letter Yud is? It's actually nothing. Doesn't even have a form. You know, I put the pen on the paper, and it's already a Yud, right? The smallest thing in the world. You know what that means? If someone asks you, what is holy? I cannot put my finger on. I cannot say that holiness is 10 inches long and 5 inches wide, right? Knowledge I can measure. I know so much and so much I don't know. How do you measure holiness? Holiness is like letter Yud. It's there, right? And also, the Yud is this, it's so deep, right? It's just, and just remember Yud K, the first 2 letters, is the way the light is coming down into this world, right? Yud is almost like the highest place. And Hey is like it's expanding a little bit, it's coming down. Right? And then Vov K, Vov is long, coming down, and Hey, right? So the first 2 cups is Yud K. Yud is our Holy Mother Soul, right? So you have to realize that Soul, you know, it's, no, Holy Mother Rivka is Hey, you know, she was expanding it already, right? But right now I just want you to know that imagine the Amshno Rebbe, right? And next to him another person standing. And then you have a feeling, Amshno Rebbe is so holy, oh, this is cute, sweet, right? Can you put your finger on why do you have this feeling? It's a Yud, right? And I want you to know something which is, we have to come back to it later on. You know, Chometz is the only, you know, imagine I have a lot of chicken soup here, a big pot, and a little piece of ham is falling in. If the kosher chicken is 60 times more than, if the 60 times more kosher than 12, I can eat it. The majority annihilates. By Pesach is something could be 2 million times more, and Chometz cannot annihilate. The mushroom is the biggest of a crumb, and it can't be annihilated. Joseph, come in. You know what that means? There is, but also, you know, I'll tell you something. Take 2 people, like I said before. They look the same, they talk the same, and yet there is one little crumb about this person which makes them holy. It's something special. Jontif, how are you? And you know what our Holy Mother Sarah left for us is this Yud. But this Yud is so holy. You know, sometimes, which is so deep, You know, between people, I have two friends, right? Both are good friends to me, but yet this one happens something else, right? Can't put my finger on, but this is Mashahu. Something, right? I can be in love with two girls, they look the same, right? And yet one has this Mashahu, this little yud, right? Can't put my finger on, but it's something, right? So this is our Holy Mother Sarah. Okay, now let's learn a little bit the laws of the first cup. Okay, the first thing is the person has to know, which is very important, that when you drink the first cup, first of all, you have the mitzvah of the 4 cups. Then also on Yom Tov, when you drink wine, you become the mitzvah of Simchas Yom Tov. Because in Yom Tov it's supposed to be happy, right? The Gemara says, "En simcha ele b'yayin." When you drink wine, you're a little bit more happy. So when you drink the first cup, you're also fulfilling the mitzvah of being happy on Yom Tov. Then there's a whole controversy if those 4 cups are mamish from the Torah, or if the 4 cups are midrabanan. Okay, now we come to the most important thing. What is it if I don't have money to buy 4 cups? I have money for matzah. I don't have enough money to buy wine for 4 cups. Do you know something? Imagine I don't have tefillin. How much do I have to sell of my possessions to buy tefillin? The Gemara says mitzvah at shlish. The most I have a right to give away for do a mitzvah is 1/3 of my possessions. Imagine I need a pair of tefillin. I don't have to sell my house, my car, and become a homeless person just to have a pair of tefillin. Basically, Gemara says 1/5 or maybe 1/3. How much do I have to spend to have the 4 cups? I have to sell everything. You see what it is? Because the 4 cups, I'm so free, even my own possessions make me a slave also, right? So, say the night when I drink the 4 cups, and I'm absolutely not enslaved to anything in this world. I'm a free person. I'm not even a slave to my own possessions. I'm not even a slave to my own comfort. But it's already heavy. Let me ask something else. Imagine I have enough money for after Pesach to buy food for my family, or I should spend it on wine right now for Pesach. What am I supposed to do? What? Got to buy wine. And I cannot say a whole Torah, after Pesach, I'll be again. Let me ask something else. Imagine I have no money. Do I have to stand on street corners beg for money?
Yes.
Yeah, go out. To have the 4 cups, I mamish have to stand on street corners, go out. Should give a new line to the homeless, give me money for 4 cups of wine, Or idea, go out,
A cup of coffee.
Yeah. But I saw this cartoon. That's an old age beggar. A new age beggar says, "Could I have your credit card for a minute?" Did I tell you? It should never happen. Bless me, should never happen again. In Israel, somebody stole my credit card and $400 cash. You know what he did? As a crazy thief, he sent me back the cash, and he kept the credit card. He has a credit card. What does he need cash for? A Yiddish cop. Now listen to this. What?
Only the people you need.
No, you know what the craziest thing was? He stole it. It was Hanukkah. You know, hundreds of people in the Moshavi broke into my house. We forgot to close up. It was on the 30th of December, and the credit card was till January 1st. Wait, so I stupidly thought, you know, Hanukkah, flying high. So I only called up the bank on January 3rd. This was my downfall. Because on that one day, he had the card, he bought merchandise for $6,000. Then I had it was a whole trial. It was so much aggravation, you know. But you know what it was? It's crazy. He didn't know how to sign my name, right? But you know, credit card, you think they really look who signed? They never do, right? So I had a Gewalt claim. You know, why didn't you look, right? But the bank took kind of thief lawyer, and he made the court crazy. Sadly enough, I didn't lose and I didn't win, but we settled, had to pay half, which I think was Mama's absolute stealing, because it was not my handwriting. But anyways,
Was it good or bad, Shlomo?
what? I'm sorry?
Was it good or bad?
It was the greatest thing ever happened to me.
You while you fainted that away.
How could I ever thank God for that? He's okay. He must have had something good for breakfast today. Let's say, for instance, I'll tell you, someone gives me money, let's say I have 12 children, and someone gives me money for the 4 cups of wine. Then I decided, listen, I don't want to wait for 4 cups of wine. I'll take out my children for lunch to a Chinese restaurant. Am I supposed to do that? 100% not. Although it's just a charity, you know, it's money for me now. Because 4 cups, something very special. This is already way out. According to some Rishonim, a person's mamash has to sell his garments to have money to buy 4 cups. Meaning to say, imagine if only 1 shirt, I'm selling the shirt, then I call up 3, says, could I borrow your shirt over Yontif, right? It's crazy. That means it is so, it's awesome, right? Why is this? Because, you know, the whole thing is, why do I drink 4 cups of wine? It is mamish, you know, the wine, mamish, Seder night, mamish gives me the strength to be a free person. And a free person is somebody who nothing stops. If there's anything in the world which can stop me from what I have to do, I'm not a free person. I'm a slave to something. You see, why was the first test God gave us crossing the Red Sea? What was God testing us? Let's see if the ocean can stop you, right? I'm on my way to Eretz Yisrael, right? And here suddenly there's a stormy ocean. I say, I'm sorry, I can't go to Israel, it's a stormy ocean. Then you're not free, right? And if you remember, maybe we'll learn later more. You see, the exodus of Egypt is between the crossing of the Red Sea, because the 7th night and the 1st night. The whole thing is Yom Tov. Yom Tov with the bow. You know, listen to me. If I give somebody $1 million, but then I said, listen, I want to see what you're going to do with it, right? The Moshe gave us the greatest gift in the world, freedom. But then God says on the 7th night, let's see what you're doing with it, right? Here Pharaoh comes with on a few horses, a few soldiers, and the stormy ocean, and you already, you know, the first thing is, let's go back to Egypt, right? They say, no, I give up my freedom. Can't be, right? So what happened eventually when she didn't think about? Nothing in the world. Nothing in the world can stop me. You know, why is it that we have this power? Nothing in the world can stop us. Why did all the other nations assimilate? They were driven out from their land, and after a few years they gave up. Because if I don't have my land, know everything, I give up, right? Us Yidden, the holding of a Yid is that nothing in the world can stop me. Nothing in the world. And you know what's even deeper in a certain way? Humanly speaking, even God can't stop me. You know? I mean, God puts so much in my way, right? Makes it so hard. What's the big test in Israel now? How much it's impossible, right? Gotta hold out, hopefully. What happens if when you drink wine you get sick? Some people can't stand it. Their stomach? What would you say? What? So what? We're talking already about, the sheer. You don't have to drink wine, heavy wine. You can put water in it, you know. The majority, most of it should be wine or water, right? But what happens if you drink wine, you've been to vomit and you're sick?
Still have to drink
What?
it. Still have to drink it.
No, 100% not?
No?
Because the whole thing of wine is to show my freedom, right? And if I get sick the moment I put it in my mouth, what kind of freedom is it, right?
But if it makes you sick later, that's like Gemara, Rabbi who has some gigs all year for his
He's okay at this, Brother Daniel, you know? It's very true. It is only if you get sick on the spot. But it's also, not so simple, right? But basically all the Rebbe said, if, for instance, I don't know, I cannot drink wine, I can only drink grape juice, because when I drink alcohol, I feel bad after that. You know what I said to somebody? Maybe my head became Chassidish, but my kishkes are still German. You know? When I drink wine, I really can't take it. Okay, I don't know, I'm sure most of you are drinking grape juice, but if you can take wine, if you can take it, no, take it, right? But...
Grape juice is okay?
Yeah, 100%. But then, the Gemara says, first of all, something else. If the doctor says to you, you shouldn't drink, what do you do then? Then you are not permitted to drink. Simple as it is. And don't tell me a Torah, I'm so free, even the doctor can't stop me. Because...
No, that's important to say that.
Yeah, because the Torah is given... You see what it is? You have to read something. Seder night, God doesn't want you to be in pain. It's Yom Tov, right? Simchas Yom Tov. The most important thing you still have to be filled with pain. And if wine causes you pain, it's not.
Shlomo,
Yeah.
you also have to be up for the entire Seder. If you want the one puts you to sleep, it's no good.
So then you drink grape juice. Obviously, you have to bear in mind they have to be up all the night as much as they can. Don't take a sleeping pill before you come to the Seder, right? Although there's, according to one shitty, you need mamish wine, not grape juice. But most, unfortunately,
Well, because wine makes you happy, and grape juice doesn't make you happy.
not true. Grape juice, gewalt.
I think one of the problems is that we all have a different, we have sometimes a skewed sense of what freedom really is. We're talking about the Jewish sense of freedom.
The world's sense of freedom is that I'm free to kill, free to rape, I can do what I want to. Normally now you always say the best thing in the world. You know what for us freedom is? Freedom is if you are free really to listen to the inside of your inside. That's called freedom.
To listen to the inside what?
Of your inside, you know, to your neshama, to your heart, to your soul. Not that what my perverted mind wants me to do. Right?
Freedom to be a Jew.
What's a Jew? Listen to the inside, and to be a servant of God. To be a person in the image of God.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Nebuch, what happens if a person is fed intravenous?
4 cups intravenous.
Listen to me. And you remember I told you this famous old Jewish joke? Moshe is in a hospital and they feed him intravenous. He calls the nurse. He says, "You have a few machines like this?" I say, "Yeah, they have a whole floor full of machines. Why are you asking?" He says, "I invited 2 Yidden for lunch." Now listen, it's very important. The wine we drink, Seder night, it means I have to drink it like a normal person is drinking. If they put in wine into me intravenous, it's not the mitzvah of Dalet Kaises. It's unbelievable. Oh, you know something? I have to eat matzah, right? If I get matzah intravenous, I'm not... Imagine you could just squeeze it in, right straight to my stomach, it doesn't go.
I thought you're supposed to listen to the inside of the inside, Shlomo.
But not of your kishkis, you know. How do you get something wrong? You hear, friends, it has to be, the Gemara says, you know, if some of you know Hebrew Gewalt, the Gemara says, Be'erev toichle matzahs, the Gemara says it has to be derech achilosam. The way you eat matzah, you put it in your mouth, you chew it, and you swallow it. But if you just get it inside without you, not through your mouth, it's not called eating, it's not called drinking.
Did they have intravenous when the Gemara was written?
Obviously they had to. You know something? I don't know if the world was already on the level, but you know that the rabbis and the Talmuds were always the greatest doctors in the world. You know that Rav said, Rav was one of the greatest doctors from all those great Talmud rabbis. He says, I want you to know, if you take a room, there's no air. You know, if you, how do you call that?
Make a vacuum.
What? A vacuum. And if someone would cut off a person's head in that room, I could put it back on and put it together again. That's what he said. So obviously it was way out, right? This is already like 1800 years ago. Right? And the Gemara has unbelievable medications for kind of thing. Said enough, we are so far removed from it that we don't even, you know. You know, that the Rambam, I don't know if you know this, the Rambam and the Rashba, how many patients did they see every day? What? 300 a day, yeah.
Made a good living.
But you know, do you think, how long does it take for an ordinary doctor to see 300 patients? A week, right? And the Rambam, you know, had, Mamash walked up to the person and said, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to... Mamash was so clear with holy prophecy, and even he was Mamash, his knowledge was so, medical knowledge so gewalt, he could look at a person's head, or his eyes, or the nose, you knew what he has, right? The Rashba had 400 patients a day. You know, the Rashba is good to remember, the Rashba lived in Barcelona, approximately before they were expelled from Spain. And it's unbelievable, the Rashba was the only one. The Rashba believed that in order to be healthy, that you have to sleep 8 hours. Yeah. And then he also believed, which is unbelievable, you have to walk 2 hours a day to be healthy. So you have already 10 hours, right? He has to daven, right? And hundreds of people, and he had a big yeshiva, the biggest yeshiva in Spain, and nobody wrote as many books as the Rashba, Shuvas Rashba. And he had 300 patients a day. From all over Spain, 300 patients a day. 400, yeah. What? Okay, now I want you to know something very special. And what do we know? And this is a little gruesome, but it's very deep. God forbid there are 4 ways for a person to die. God forbid, it should never happen. We always think we're saved, God should save us. A person can be burnt to death. A person can be stoned to death. God forbid, someone cut off the head, or you can just choke. And with the 4 cups of wine, we are redeeming ourselves from those 4 ways of dying. And Mamash gives us strength to live forever. Sorry, what?
Could you look at the 4 ways of dying?
So, the first thing is actually, I made a mistake. The first thing is skila, to be stoned, sreife, to be burnt, and chenek is choking, and hair to cut off the head. And I'm sure everything has about subdivisions, you know. You know the Holy Sansa, when he went to the mikveh, he would mamish. Now, according to the great Kabbalists, you have to go at least 4 times, go under. So he would say, Mamish, I should be stoned for you. He would go under. Then he said, Master of the world, I should be burned for you. But you know, there was one big rabbi, he was hiding in the mikveh. And when the Sansa says, I want to be stoned for you, it was so real that he mamish thought that stoning the Sansa, but he held back, right? Then when the Sansa says, I want to be burned for you, he says, mamish is also burning the Sansa, hold back. By the 3rd, cut of the head or choking, he couldn't bear it anymore. He says, you know. Then he realized that because the Sansa said it was so much heart, it sounded so real, you know. Okay, now, this is very special. Seder night, the women have to mamish to go to Seder in a very special way. First of all, they're Yidden, right? And then because the Gemara says that because of the holy women we were redeemed from Egypt. So you see, it's not only that they are part of the redemption because they are one nation, right? They have even special because who's coming there? Whoever it is. I'm going to tell you the famous joke. You know, Mr. Fritz is sitting by the Seder, and his wife says to him, hey Fritz, I have to go to the kitchen to look for the soup. He says, now it is right before the 10 plagues, you know, you have to throw off a little wine. He says, you can't do this. She says, I'm sorry, the soup is burning. So he says, okay, I'll do it for you. So you know the 10 plagues. Blood, frogs, lies. So Fritz says, blood for me, blood for my wife. Frogs for me, frogs for my wife. Lies for me, lies for my wife.
See the same women have a special part.
What? I'm sorry, what?
Women have a special part.
Yeah, because of them, so they have to mamish. You know, I see a lot of women. They come to the 4 cups, like Elizabeth Taylor. You know, which doesn't go this way. Mamish, you have to drink. Okay, this is very important, but we have to learn how much do you really have to drink. This is Gewalt. Are we waiting for Naomi?
No, yeah, Naomi's here.
Which set is this from?
This is just came out in Israel. I got it from Israel. 3 volumes. I say the Gewalt. Anything, you know. Listen to me. If I learn everything, it'll take us a year every page. But I'm just taking out the most important thing. Okay, I'm sure you do this. I hope they're doing it. You're supposed to wash the cup before. Yeah, but I hope, you know, but basically if you want to be very, very strong, like then your mamish should wash the cup again before you drink from it.
In between cups?
No, just at the beginning. We're talking about the first cup. You're still on the first cup. Then something very, very important. It has to be full. I don't want to say anything bad in those synagogues, the way they make Kiddush, you know. You have to look with the microscope 5 times so you can see one drop at the bottom. It has to, the mamish, the cup has to be full. Because it says, you know, Al kois yayin mole, you know, if you don't fill the cup, you know what that means? That you're poor, right? You don't have it. And especially when we celebrate. Okay, I'm sure you know how to make Kiddush. But listen to this. You should pick up actually. We should be more careful. You should mamish pick up the cup with 2 hands. And then hold it with your right hand. So you do it with your left. And it has to be at least 1 tefach above the ground, like this. But according to the real Mukabolim, you should hold it at the same level as your heart.
Same level as your heart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Gewalt, you know.
But you also said last week that someone could lift it for you too, right?
Yeah. Actually, if you want to do it real, but the rabbis, you know, one of the chassidim picks it up like this, and then the rabbi holds it like this.
Well, maybe I'm giving myself a good time, but in my family, my father
Yeah.
always held the cup like this. He wasn't
Yeah.
very, you know,
Yeah.
knowledgeable religiously.
And Mama should
And,
serve
but
us
I do
well.
it that way. I do it the way. I never hold it like this. And I've been reading a book of the Rebbe's of Kosov Vizhnitz,
Yeah.
and that's the area my father came from. That's the way they hold it.
Okay, see, it doesn't have to be like this. It can be like this also. But it has, the most important thing is, it has to be like this, you know? It's okay, Gewalt. Okay, again, this is very important. To wash the cup only before the first cup. Then you don't have to walk around washing it each time. What? Then I'm going to get to it. Yeah? Oh, we'll come to it in a second. Wait. Okay, this is very important, and everybody knows it by the Seder. You don't pour in the wine yourself. Because a king doesn't pour in the wine himself. It's always a neighbor. It's very, very important, It means also besides everything else, it's so deep. Say we got to take care of each other. He said something very beautiful. The Mishnah it always says, doesn't say pour in the wine, it says mozgula. They poured in the wine for him. That means the Mishnah says always someone else is pouring the wine for you. Okay, to make it short, Saturday night you have to drink whatever cup you have. You have to drink absolutely more than half. Has to be more than half. You don't drink wine, sip a little bit and put it down. Basically, according to the real Kabbalists, you have to drink the whole. Because every drop of wine of the valid choices, you need mamash. Imagine Rothschild sends me $2 million. I'd say, listen, I learned once that the majority is the most important thing. I'll take $1,001,001. Stupid, he gives you $2 million. There's a story, I think I mentioned it to you a few times, that there was forget his name, a big Rebbe, and he would come every year one Shabbos to Sanz. And in Sanz, the way it is, they bring in the soup, then the Holy Son that takes 3 spoons, then all the Chassidim taking a little bit. So, his name was Chatzkel or something. He's sitting next to the Sanza takes 3 spoons, then he says, Rab Chatzkel, he takes the plate of soup, it says, Rab Chatzkel, it's all for you. So, his first reflexes were, it's all for me, he means to tell me I should eat the whole soup, right? Well, then he thought, listen, I don't want to be a pig, everybody wants everybody of the Rebbe's soup. So he says, I'll also take 3 spoons, and then give it to the Chassidim. And he says, my whole life, I regret I didn't eat the whole thing. You know what it is? Seder night, what God gives you, take the whole thing. Why are you so stupid? What are you holding back? A lot of times, which is so deep, a lot of people want to give us so much, and we basically, you see, we are afraid to take everything. I don't want to say anything bad, but take husband or wife, I could swear that most husband and wife only take a little fraction of what they really want to give to each other. Always is holding back. The slave holding back. Say tonight, the Mama said, Rabbi Shlomo. God gave us such a gewaltig Torah, and we lick a little bit. Adult education, we learn 1 page a year. Why don't you, Mama learn, right? So he says the truth is that you should absolutely drink the whole cup.
Does it make you feel uncomfortable or something?
Okay, so this we learned already. Anything which makes you uncomfortable, you don't have to do. But basically we're talking about normal circumstances. And if you cannot drink the whole cup, then really take grape juice, Don't take wine and then take a sip. You're defeating yourself.
Can you mix it too? I mean, set in different cups?
What do
Like
you
one
mean?
cup wine, 1 cup grape
Yeah,
juice.
then you can do that.
How much
See,
wine?
what?
How much wine?
And how big a cup?
The rabbis, you know, it should be, yeah, how much is it?
4.4.
Yeah, how big is the cup?
Like a 5 ounce.
Yeah.
4.4, I think, where's that from?
I tell you what, most people I have seen, the first 2 cups that drink grape juice. But the last 2 are really drinking wine because it's not that long anymore, right? If you drink right from the beginning wine, you get tired, and you can't drink anymore. But the last 2, or especially the last one, some drink wine mamish. Oh. But this is very important. Everybody agrees that the 4th cup, the last one, you have to drink the whole thing. That's a must.
What happens to the cup of Eliyahu?
Oh.
What happens to that?
Were you at Mercedes last year?
Yeah, what happens to the wine?
No, after you come back from Elianovi, you take from the wine and give everybody a little bit. Not to drink, but you put it in their 4th cup. That's how all the big rabbis did it. But then you fill it up again, right?
So you do drink that.
And then you use it for Kiddush for the rest of Pesach. You know what was very special? The Nirala's wedding was in Israel. You know, her father, as I mentioned to you, he was never in Siberia, 10 years, in prison 5 years. So when Mirala was born, a neighbor, a Russian neighbor, sent Avram a bottle of wine, and he says, keep it for her wedding and make sure I'm coming. So the sad thing is that Nebuch, this he doesn't live anymore. But his wife came. It's very sweet, yeah. And this was the wine for the chuppah and everything, yeah. Okay, but now by the Shem, Avram took it again. You know, you can always refill. He wants to hold it for Mirala's children's wedding by the Shem. Good to see it, yeah. I want you to know the wedding was so sweet. And besides Svi Nomi and brother Bob and Tamar, but it was sweet is not the word, you know. But again, you know something? When God gives you joy, you must have the privilege also to get it, right? So his father didn't want to come to the wedding. You know why? Because his father decided that he is the one to find a shidduch for his son. He says to his son, who are you to find the girl by yourself? Chutzpah, right? And then he said to the girl, why do you want to marry my son? He has nothing. Disgusting, right? Anyway, so then her father, Baruch Shem, maneuvered around that he had to be in America. So then he thought, when I'm in America, then they have to postpone the wedding. So Nebuch Mirla called me up. He said, what should I do? I said, you should not let him hang himself. You know. Anyway, so then the mother came. She was sitting there, mamish, like she's in the funeral, you know. You know, I couldn't control myself. I said, anybody who's sitting here and is not besimcha, not filled with joy, that means you don't believe in God, because God is putting people together. What are you sitting here casting? You know, when Mirala walked around, I was so proud of her. It was so beautiful. Her mother's a very special woman, you know. Her mother was holding her hand. Her mother was going in front, right? And they're walking around. And his mother, looking like she's looking for the funeral parlor, she walked behind her but not God forbid together as merely, but on one hand it was so hilarious, it was like a Charlie Chaplin movie, casting behind. And then after the chuppah she went out. Didn't say Mazel Tov to anybody. You know what it means? She could have been so happy, right? She could have been so happy. Anyway, crazy. God should give us a blessing, when God gives us something, we should mamish take it. Okay, then there's something, if you want to do it super. Some people say that if I have to drink most of the cost, I shouldn't drink a little bit, put it down, a little bit. Mamish in one set, because
You have to lean.
what?
You have to lean when you drink.
Yeah, but that we learned last week, so I don't want to go over the good. You were here last week? No.
I'm afraid I was out.
I'm sorry. Okay, have I always
We'll catch him up, we'll catch him
Yeah.
up.
No, in case, just to make sure, everything, all the food we eat for the Seder, you eat dessert also, but by dessert you don't have to lean back. If you do, it's beautiful. If you're not, you don't have to say this, have to eat dessert again because I wasn't leaning back, right? But that's a good idea, eat, and then you say, oh, I didn't lean back, I have to start leaning. That's one way to get it in. But the matzah, more you don't have to lean back, because more is a symbol of slavery, so you don't have to lean back. By Koirach, when you eat matzah more together, it's already a very big controversy. Some say you have to, because of the matzah, you have to eat it leaning back. Some say no, because the more you don't have to eat leaning back. But then afikoyman, 100%. There's a shit. Imagine I finish the Seder, I'm already lying in bed and I'm falling asleep. So I realize I ate the matzah without leaning back. So I have to get up again and start the Seder all over again. Not the whole Seder, but have to wash and eat matzah again, leaning back.
I saw in the under Siddur, it
Yeah.
said that you could lean in your neighbor's lap.
That's a big shayla, yeah.
You can lean on yourself, you cannot lean. But
Yeah. But basically, if you lean on somebody else, that's called leaning. Or you just have to be on your own. It's a big controversy. Because the whole thing, when the German Kaiser and the Russian Tsar are sitting together, they don't lean on each other, It's only like little slaves, they're happy with each other, lean back. A king doesn't lean on somebody else. But it's a big shot, it sounds good. Okay, between the first cup and the second cup, in emergency you can drink. You shouldn't, but if you do, you do. And between the second and the third you eat anyway, right? Between the third and the fourth you really shouldn't drink. Between the first and the second you can, in emergency. You shouldn't. But imagine your mom is dying from thirst or something, you're dehydrated, then you can.
More wine during the feast?
During the feast you can drink 100 gallons of wine, if you want to.
Is there any other holiday where we act like kings, Shlomo?
You see, Mamash, you're asking the best question in the world. You see, Pesach is a training to be a king. And then hopefully you'll be a king all year long. Yeah. Okay, you know, some people make Kiddush Friday night and they have asleep and they have gargling, have snoring. But the Haggadah, every word, it's not only the wine has to be like they're like a free person. The whole thing has to. You know, when the Tsar of Russia gives out a decree, he doesn't say, you know, like a king. The whole thing, every word of the Haggadah has to be like the Tsar of Russia is giving out a decree.
Is there a special niggun and nusach for the reading of the Kadesh?
Everyone, you got to go, brother. How you doing?
Good. I enjoyed it a lot.
This is Mama. Over there. See you later, yeah? Be well. How you doing inside? Good?
I come here, I juice up a little bit.
Call me up sometimes, yeah? You look good, brother. Where are you by the Seder?
Miami, Dakota.
Oh, yeah.
Family goes there.
You can't get a kosher helicopter and come back for one night. I have to tell you something, you know? Everybody knows, you know, the great Kabbalists, they can cut through space, you know? With Sadech. But the question is, are you permitted to do it on Shabbos or Yom Tov? Imagine, he's in Miami. Can you come by Kvitz Sadech to be the second Seder here? Listen to this. You know, one of the greatest Kabbalists in the last 100 years was the rabbi in Damascus, the Ishchai, Yosef ben Chaim.
And he's fine.
Ben Ishchai, yeah. So he says like this. Awesome. He says there's two ways of cutting through space. Okay, he's in Miami, he wants to be in New York. There's two ways of getting here. Or that he removes himself to New York. That you're not permitted because you're not permitted to leave your space on Yom Tov. But the other way is of bringing New York to him, that he can. Is that like about? You know, well, I mean, those Kabbalists, they could take a whole city and bring it somewhere else. You know what the Pshivsko said? I want you to know, I can take all of Berlin with all the houses and all the trees and bring it here to Pshivsko. He says, but what will God gain by it? So I'm not doing it. Okay, Mamash, have a good Yom Tov, brother. And go strong.
Shlomo, you're saying about the niggun and the nusach.
You know, the way I do it like my father did. He learned from his father. He said,
That's the whole thing?
Yeah.
The whole thing, basically?
What?
You said, I think it was last year, that by your Seder, there were no interruptions. You didn't stop and ask questions.
I'm sorry, what?
If I have it right, you said that by your Seder, by your family Seder, you didn't interrupt the other part. You're telling them, it's more time to ask questions, make comments. Is that right?
I say Torah a little bit.
You say people should not ask.
Now you see it's not because you're not permitted, because I realized we had, let's say last year we had 120 people, right? And I would say,
Sorry. What's the question?
no, he said because last year I said, I don't want people to ask me questions. Because there were 120 people, everybody's asking questions, we'll sit by the Seder. And, you know, it's not fair, you know. Every Shmendikel is asking a question, you know. Then you have to answer him back. My father told me, my Zayda was really very careful between but when you read the Agoda, the one who's conducting the Seder can say something, but people ask questions. But then my Zayda thought, maybe I'm too rough on people. Anybody wants to ask something? So there was one Yidden, I guess, says, yeah, Rabbi, I want to ask something. What do you want to know? He says, when does the first day of Sukkot come out on the calendar? I mean, what a question was I saying. It's cute, but most people when they have something, someone asks me, what do you think of Rabin? It's cute, but say it tonight, please,
Isn't it minhag in everybody's family different? There's differences, and is that okay?
Did what?
The minhag is that there's differences in everybody's family. And
Sure,
everybody's
there are
way
2
that they
million
do.
ways, 100%.
Yeah.
That makes it beautiful.
Right.
But what do I know, right?
Stephanie just made a bold statement. She said, people interrupt all the time, will never get out of Mitzrayim.
Unbelievable. Good. It's a good toilet. This is very important. It says, please refrain from unimportant talk until the end of the session. On the first couple. Okay, have I make a little intermission for 5 minutes, yeah?
Sure. Say no more. Say no more, Holy Rabbi.
I said it everything, but Chaim. Okay, why is it that Pesach needs more preparation than any other holiday? Okay, this is what it is. Because all the holidays, we are slowly getting into it. Let's say it starts, the heat is 50%, then 60%, then 80%, 100%, 150%, and so on. Yom Tov. On Pesach, like 10,000% right the first second.
How are you saying that, Shlomo? I don't understand what
You see what it is? Okay. On every Yom Tov, God gives me only as much as I have vessels for. Let's say I have a plate can take 10,000 degree of fire, getting 10,000. My vessel can hold 100,000. It's 100,000. On Pesach, God does not give me in how much vessels I have. It's coming down, right? Coming down also.
How come, why is that?
Because on Pesach, you see what it is. All the holidays is a bit my preparation. Shavuos is, I count as the Omer, right? Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, I'm going to prepare myself doing Tshuva, Sukkot. Pesach is the first holiday. The first holiday is a gift from heaven. Why is matzah so fast? Because everything in the world is a little bit God, a little bit me, right? Chumetz is a good partnership. God give me the wheat and the water and the oven, and I make it, right? Matzah it's so fast, right? It's mamish, it's very little human involvement, I'm taking water and flour, throw it in the oven, and I'm taking it out. Because mamish Pesach is coming from heaven. Why do we need new plates, everything physically on Pesach? Because on Pesach God gives us new vessels. Because we don't have vessels for it. You see, Seder night is completely beyond my vessels. I'm just hanging in there, right? It's beyond me. And you know something? The craziest thing is the lowest Hidele, Seder night, even if he does it all wrong, right? But he wants to do something. He feels something is happening here. I don't know what it is. I can figure it out, but there is something going on. But you see what it is. What do we need so much preparation? To hold on to the light, right? Imagine someone says, Rosh says, I want to give you $2 million. but at least it's hold out your hand, right? I put in your hand. Imagine I'm coming, and God forbid I have no hands. I said, I'm sorry. I want to give you $2 million, so you have no vessels to hold it, right? See, 2 million pounds of simcha, of light and freedom are coming down to the world. The first night. Regardless if you have vessels or not. But the question is, are you still having it after that? So what we are trying so much to do, we prepare ourselves before Yom Tov to have vessels. And then what's feels? I'm holding on to what I got, and slowly I'm making vessels for it. God sends me down 10,000 tons of joy, right? And of light. Even if I have a little vessel. So it feels, but this light is not taken away. The Gemara says, God never takes anything away. It just, you don't have it. It's sitting there, hovering over you. It's there, but you don't have vessels for it yet, So we slowly, chesed shebachesed, slowly are making vessels to receive the light. But especially on Pesach, I'm throwing out all my old vessels. I'm cleaning my house the most. And this is from the Kodesh Market. He says, imagine the sun is shining, but my windows are shut. So you don't get anything. I want you to know something. It was really so beautiful. The Seder night when we are by the chumetz, we are putting 10 pieces of chumetz by the window. You know what it is? Because our windows are full of chumetz. God's light is shining, and nothing comes to me because it's full of chumetz, the windows. So I need to clean my windows.
Our eyes too, maybe.
Everything. Okay, when we have to clean my house, my rooms, as well as the inside also. Oh, this is a Gebal Torah. When God, Pesach is because God jumped over the houses of and the angel of death was not able to come into our houses. Right? It's a heavy Torah from Mishpat. What's the angel of death, God forbid, which Seder night hopefully doesn't come in? They said the angel of death is our own stupidity. Whenever something good happens to us, right away my Malach HaMovasel comes and he doesn't let it happen, right? Knocks it off. Gewalt Torah, So Seder night, God, Mamish, it's so special, Why is Seder night, like... You have to realize, there is no night when it's so easy to get angry. Because it's like the angel of death is standing there, right? He wants to get in the worst way, right? And you see, it's I don't want to say anything bad. Have you seen, usually in the kitchen of Pesach, what's going on there? They yell at each other, and remember Rabbi Yitzchak when they baked matzahs? On one Pesach, Rabbi Yitzchak was sick, so asked him, Rebbe, what should we be careful when we bake matzahs? They thought he has to... you have to be careful because it has to be exactly 18 minutes in the oven, and if you leave it 1 second longer, it's chumetz. This is not hippie stuff. It's, I was just meditating, and it doesn't go this way, I just had a vision. One person came to me and said, I had visions. I said, let me tell you something, I'm sure you have visions, but let me ask something. You really think God has nobody else to give visions but to you? Really, like, God has good taste, That's crazy. This woman came to me and she talked to them about some Russian couple. She talked me to becoming Christian.
What's that?
Yeah. She says because she gave them over their visions of JC. She has very positive visions. I say, first of all, let me tell you something. Anybody who really has visions doesn't talk about it. And if you can't stop talking about it, it's already a sign you don't have it. Anyway, you see, we have this Seder night, won't you know? In fact, Rabbi Yitzchak, I'm sorry. I'm so tired, and it's scotch dip in my head. Rabbi Yitzchak says, so what should we be careful? Why did they come to this suddenly from the mother? What? Listen to this. Rabbi Yitzchak, listen to me. The most important thing is that the women who bake the matzahs are very poor women, mostly widows. Make sure that nobody else has it. He said, because if someone yells while you bake matzah, then the matzah is 100% chometz. Remember, Rabbi Kiva Eger would come home, there were so many guests, and what is the guest sitting there? He's so afraid maybe he'll not hold the cup properly, there'll be wine stains on the tablecloth, they're sitting all the shivering. Yes, Rabbi Kiva Eger would take a cup and mamish pretend it's chocolate and spill the whole wine over the tablecloth. And then Baruch Hashem is Baruch Hashem, now everybody's out of the slavery of the tablecloth. Stupidly, wouldn't do it again. One night Seder, the Chaver said they want to make a big Seder. I was invited in somebody's house. I want you to know the first 2 days of Pesach, husband and wife fought the whole time about the tablecloth of the first night, you know. So obnoxious, you know.
I think they're fixing something.
What?
I think they're fixing something.
Who knows? Okay, now, everybody knows that you know, Seder night, this is very important to know. You know, everything in the world, even good stuff, they're still part of the four walls of the world, right? They fit into the world. Redemption doesn't fit into the world. Because by the Haggadah we say it was not an angel, not a serf, only God himself. That means only as infinite as God can take you out of slavery. You know, it is so deep, I want you to know, it's not only we became non-slaves to Pharaoh. First of all, in that good, I don't want to get involved in the words. You know, when we were slaves in Egypt, Egypt was not just physically you were slaves in Egypt. Mentally, you were slaves in Egypt. I'll tell you something, God bless you. I'll tell you something awesome. Where does it come from that one Jew hates the other Jew? That means I really believe what the Nazis said, that Jews are no good. But not my kind of Jew, it's your kind of Jew, right? I'll tell you something awesome. When the Germans came to Vienna, then would you believe that a German Jew called up my father? And he says, I want you to know you have nothing to worry about. They only mean the Polish Jews. Isn't that awesome? I mean, it's not to be believed, right? Where is this coming from? This is, you know what this is? Would you believe that a lot of my family, you know, super yakkers came to America, right? And then one of my cousins accused, where you going to see everything is okay? One of my mom, sweet is not the word, and so beautiful, so much alive. She fell in love with the young doctor, but the only wrong thing with the doctor was that his parents are from Poland. I couldn't believe my cousins. They said, how could you do this to us? Marry someone, a Polish Jew. After going through Nazi Germany, and you didn't learn anything? You know what it is? Redemption comes only from God. That means not of this world. Not of this world. And you know what it is? You need vessels for redemption, right? So take my cousin, he came out from Germany, right? God redeemed him, but he had no vessels to hold it. So he's right back into slavery. So he says, okay, the Germans are wrong and persecuted the German Jews, but they're right in persecuting the Polish Jews. Right?
Shlomo, where does the world get vessels for the redemption that's coming up now?
So that's we are trying so hard, brother, that we have people like you. Okay, now listen to me. The 4 cups of wine, which is awesome. I want you to know everything in the world which God gives us, we receive in our head, our hearts. Redemption of Pesach, I receive it in my kishkas. It means it has to reach mamish, my flesh, my bones, my muscles, my nails. You know, Pesach is not, I'm sitting here and we have an intensive weekend on redemption. I'll tell you something, just on a joke level, on a sad joke level. I was once invited to an intensive Kabbalah weekend. And I thought it's good, you know, I don't know. Coming there, and this teacher, Nebuch, he knows about Kabbalah as much as, I would say as much as some of us knew before we had teeth, you know. I'm sure we knew more than. So he's sitting there, and he knows that the great Kabbalists, they're saying Torah on the letters, on the words. But they can't doch nicht keine Hebräisch. So he says Torahs on the English, which is stupid. But so I came there, everybody was sitting there meditating, and I mean, Charlie Chaplin never had it that good. I wish you would have seen him. And he was sitting there with closed eyes. He was saying Torahs on peace, P-I-E-C-E, peace. Rosh Tevis. You know, you can only say Torahs on the letters because, you know the difference between ABC and the letters? In Hebrew, the letters themselves are holy. They're not just to form words. In the whole world, the letters are just there to come out with the words, what the letters have meaning. The fact that the letters are nothing. By us, Aleph is not only, Aleph is also number 1, right? Base is not just B, it's number 2, right? Everything. So he says, sitting there, has closed eyes. Tongues are hanging inside, not outside. No mistake. And he says, P is for peace. I mean, obviously. He didn't have anything to add. I was together with a Polish Yid, you know, who was already many years ago, was a little Yiddish, a little English. He says, looked at us and P is for Pferd. For horse. In Hebrew and in Yiddish, a Pferd sounds with a P, right? It's a P. Pferd. And then we'll give the whole Torah, then what's I and peace, and what's I'm a she, you know. And you know what I mean to say? I want you to know this is an Ishba to Torah. That on Shavuos, God gives us the Torah into our heads, into our hearts. On Pesach, Mamish, the Rebbe gives us the whole Torah. all the lights of heaven mamish into our physical being. It's beyond me, right? You know, Seder night is not that I understand the redemption. I don't know. It's beyond me. But the matzah mamish gets in my kishkes. The wine gets into my kishkes. The afikoyim gets in my kishkes. And by Shavuos, 7 weeks later, I hope, maybe I have a little bit of an understanding. You know, Pesach is the deepest fixing of the tree of knowledge. You know, because what is the whole thing of tree of knowledge? That you eat your bread with sadness. What's the beginning? Mamish, we eat matzah with great joy, right? The major breakthrough, right? Okay, so you see, on Pesach, why are the kids the first one to ask? Because the kids, they're so real, right? They're not asking for their heads. They're asking for their kishkes, you know? For real. You know what the tree of knowledge is? I'm standing in front of the mirror and I say to myself, can't believe how beautiful I am. I think I'm the greatest Jew in the world. In fact, I'm convinced, right? In your head, you can talk yourself into anything in the world. Your kishkes, you cannot talk into anything. Imagine if I'm hungry, and I say to my kishkes, I'm so glad you ate, Sean. My kishkes say, listen, cut it out. I didn't, right? So Seder is the deepest vessel is that this great light of redemption, I'm just getting it. The only thing is, the most important thing is, you have to make sure that your head is not in the way. That your head is not in the way. Now listen to this. We'll come to it in a second, but I just want to give you a taste right now. What's the first obstacle? The chocham. That the first obstacle. We always think that the chocham is a gewalt. The chocham is the first obstacle. The first obstacle is that you're an intellectual and you're already asking questions. You know? What's going on here? So we tell him, after the V'koyim, you're not permitted to eat. You know why? This is not intellectual, because the taste of the matzah should stay with you. Because the matzah is deeper than understanding. It mamish gets into you. And you have to make sure that the taste of the matzah stays with you for a long time. But we come to this in a second. The most important thing is Pesach. I have to know, the light which is coming down is not measured by me. It's not measured. It's just mamish, God gives every Jew the most infinite redemption. And the most infinite everything in the world. You remember, Seder night is the night when Yitzchak blessed Yaakov. Did we learn it already? No, maybe not. Did we?
No.
Do you know that Seder night was the night when Yaakov was supposed to marry Rochel? Did we learn it?
No.
That's awesome, you know? You know, but Yaakov, everything is 100%. So he received the blessing of Yitzchak Seder night. Then he told him to go and look for a wife. So that night, right? So Seder night, Yaakov was supposed to marry Rochel. What happened? Rochel gave over the Simon of the signs to Leah, right? So how does the Seder begin? With Simon, right? Everything is Simon, right? Signs. Simon is, you say symbols, but it's even that it's secret signs, right? Let me ask something. How do children talk? They can't talk yet. What means close between parents and children? They understand their signs, right? Listen, I see a baby crying. I think it wants Coca-Cola. The mother says, no, it's tired, right? Because she understands the signs. She knows exactly the way the baby cries for Coca-Cola, and the baby's Coca-Cola. No. A new age baby. Okay, now, this is the deepest. Give me just 2 more minutes, I know it's late.
Yeah.
2 more seconds. What needs to come out the first? First thing which has to come out, mamish, the huge of neshama, right? This deepest depth of my neshama. This one mamish. There's something so holy inside of me. It's not big and it's not small. You know, how do the stars look to us? The stars we see are about how many millions of times bigger than the sun? Who knows, right? The stars we see are billions of times bigger than the sun and the moon, bigger than all the planets, right? Why do they look so small? Because if I want to tell you something which is infinite, I have no other way of showing it to you but by small, right? How big do you want me to make it, right? So, just a point. Okay, the first thing when I make Kiddush, you know what's coming out of being hidden? My neshama. The deepest depths of my neshama is becoming free. What is becoming free by the second cup? It's really beautiful. You know what's coming out free by the second cup? My roots. What's the deepest after my roots? My roots are really that I'm mamish, I know I'm one with every year, I'm one with God. You see what it is? When Moshe Rabbeinu came down to Egypt, what happened to us before Moshe Rabbeinu came? We really thought we were slaves. Because we lost touch with our roots. Moshe Rabbeinu came, and he said, Hidden, you know who you are, you're children of Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Suddenly, our roots began shining for us. Kabbalah, you know. Kabbalah, we are kings. We're not slaves. So the second cup is, my roots are coming out. You know, imagine Einstein would think he's a shoemaker. He might be cute and sweet, but did I tell you the story about the Netziv? It's a good story to remember. When, you know, the Netziv was Rosh Shiva in Roloshen, one of the greatest, super greatest, and he wrote unbelievable books. When his first book came out, he made a big feast. And this is what he taught. He told the story, and this has about 2 million versions, but I'm telling you the way I heard it. That when he was little, he didn't want to learn. He didn't want to learn. So he was going to Cheder, and he doesn't want to learn. So one day he overheard the Rebbe of the Cheder talking to his father. And the Rebbe of the Cheder says to his father, listen, it's a waste of time. He's already 12 years old, and he can barely read and write. He's no good. He doesn't want to learn. Obviously he doesn't have such a good head, otherwise he would be interested. Why did you make a tailor out of him? So, was supposed to become a tailor. He says, okay, you know, imagine would have become a tailor. He'd be a good tailor. Go to Shul Daven. But you know something? I'd come up to heaven after, and they would show me all those books which I wrote. They would show me, you see, you could have written all those books. I go out there, I die from shame, right? He's so broke. So he says, you know what really happened? After I heard my Rebbe telling my father to make a tailor out of me, he said, I don't want to be a tailor. I went off that night to yeshiva, I began learning like crazy. And he was, right, he was like the Netziv, he was mamish the father of the Torah today. All the Torah of Chaim Briskin, all the learnings, because of him. What did God shine at him? God shined to him, I'm not meant to be a tailor. This is not my mission in this world. So the first, God bless you, the first cup is mamish when the neshama comes out. The second cup, when I drink it, you know what is redeemed? My inside, my roots, that I know what I really have to be. And here's the deepest depth. You know, Yitzchak thought that Esav is meant, maybe not to be the biggest tzaddik, but he's meant to be a good man. Wants to bless him. But Rivka knew that Esav is hopeless. He's not connected to his roots. Here's the father Yitzchak, but he's disconnected. The only one who's connected is Yaakov. And you see what it is? A mother has two functions. The function of Sorah is to make sure that my soul should never be enslaved. And Rivka is the one, mamish, to let you know what you have to do in this world, you know, where you are connected. You know, everybody, I want you to know, you see, the tree of knowledge again says to you, be good or bad. This is not all there is to it. I don't want to say, you know, everyone here, imagine you would have been a garbage collector. You'd be a good garbage collector. But this is not what God wants you to be. You know, if God gave you talent or anything in the world, it's not just to make $50 a week and go home and eat shon. You know? So this is what he says. You know, what is roots? Roots is that the tree and the roots are one. You know what's my problem is? I'm not connected to my roots. I don't feel one with my roots, which would shine into me what I really have to do with this world. Like an apple tree. What do the roots tell this tree? Brother, you got to be an apple tree, right? And if you're not an apple tree, you're dead. The third cup is even deeper. You know what food is? It mamish is mine. You know, after I eat a piece of bread and it's my kishkes, it's really my bread, right? Whatever God gives you, you have to take inside. You know, Rachel was the master of the kitchen in Yaakov's house because she was able, mamish, to give food to their children. The mamish, when they eat rocheles soup. Remember, the Yiddish Kodesh says, if anybody would eat my wife Shendel's soup Friday night, it would have to do tshuva. You know, because you take in so much Shabbos, so much holiness, that you can't help it. What's the fourth cup? This is even deeper. The fourth cup is that suddenly I realized I was never a slave. I was never a slave.
What?
I was never a slave. Yeah. Different vision.
Never slave. I missed the third cup.
The third is that it becomes yours, right? When I eat. Oh, my brothers, but you see what it is. The most important thing, we should hold on to that great light. Say tonight, a great light is shining, and what we can do the most is just make a little bit of a vessel. And if not a vessel yet, because it's inside of me, but I don't know what it is. You know, sometimes between people, I meet this girl, I love her like crazy, have no idea why I love her, and I don't know the connection, but you know, inside of me, right? On the matzah level, on the Pesach level, right? It's beyond me. That's what Pesach's all about. I don't know why I'm a Jew. I don't know why I want to do everything for God. But just go out. Shabbos.
Shabbos.